Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, we talk about all things fandom on this channel, and we talk about it in a positive way. If that's something that appeals to you, you've come to the right place. We're so glad you stopped by today, and we're going to be taking a look today at the show Welcome to Derry, because we are on the eve of its premiere. Tomorrow that show will premiere, and come Thursday we will be doing our spoiler review. But I thought we would take a look at some things that I think and people across the internet seem to think would make the show great. Things that this show must do in order to be successful. So let's jump right into it. Now, of course, you know that the world is full of internet critics and people who get clicks by making things seem worse than they are. And we're going to have that in this fandom as well. We're going to have that when Welcome to Derry hits tomorrow. We're going to have instantaneously all these people telling us how bad it is. But if you're just thinking about it in terms of how cool it could be, and you don't go in with any sort of preconceived notion, this show could be a lot of fun. However, it does have to do a few things. At least if you're looking at the internet right now and seeing what people are saying, and also my personal opinions, some of this stuff is important for the show to focus on. Number one is that it has to build up the characters. It really does have to make us feel for these new characters, because these aren't the characters we're used to, other than Pennywise, who isn't going to be the central focus. So number one is that character development. And along with that, the Losers Club, because this is going to be a previous incarnation of the Losers Club. And when you have something like that, that is iconic, and the original Losers Club is iconic, you have to make it so that these kids are different, and yet they seem fitting to sort of take up the mantle, because even though this is a prequel, it's coming to us after a classic and after the book written by Stephen King so many years ago made those characters of the Losers Club completely iconic. Bringing in these new characters, it's important that we feel something for them and that they feel a little bit different. If we take a look at them and they are just the cliche versions of what the previous characters were, then that's going to be a little problematic. Will it be a complete game changer and make the series complete crap? Probably not. But it's not going to help it if the characters don't have their own unique personalities. Number two, a lot of people want it to feel closer to the film. Like, they want it to feel close to the film. It's got to be connected to the film. I'm kind of going to disagree with them there. Just a little bit. I mean, this is set in the same universe as the film, so yes, it has to focus on the things that the film brought us. I do agree with that. However, it has to give me a closer connection to the book. And if it does that, I might be a little bit more thrilled than I would be if they just connect everything to the previous movie and call it a day. And we've already gotten some confirmation that they are going to be doing some stuff that is directly related to the Stephen King original novel. So I am excited there to see some of that stuff play out. The next one, people want it to focus on the history of Derry. Okay, I agree with this. I actually think that this would be something that would be amazing. This would be fun to watch. And getting to know just some questions that we have. And in this case, it doesn't even have to be directly from the book. It could be something that was made up, because Stephen King is an advisor on this series as I understand it. So I do think in talking to Stephen King and getting an idea as to what he thinks about the series as they were writing it and as they were going on might actually serve to help to give us a history of Derry that feels real and feels true to the book and true to the movie, that feels like something that really matters. And in this case, that darker history. Why is Pennywise there? Why does he do the things he does? In the book and in the movies, we're given a very sort of simple explanation to this. And this kind of goes in tune with kind of getting to know Pennywise himself. When you're looking at something supernatural, which Pennywise is, sometimes it is fun to take a look behind that curtain and to kind of determine why this supernatural thing exists. And we get a little bit, like I said before, of this sort of explanation, but we never really get a true in-depth explanation to what Pennywise is. So it would be actually really cool to see it play out on screen. Now, and a lot of people also want to see themes of loss and of friendship. Friendship, loss, basically they want to see drama. They want to see these kids have real feelings. Whether it's because they hate each other, because they like each other, they want to get this sense that these people are real. And that kind of goes all the way back to that first thing we said. The key here, though, is that with these kids feeling real, we're going to care more about them. And then we get into this next part where people say they want to see more unsettling scenes, more scary vibes. They want to see more effects and more of this crazy stuff that Pennywise can do. And I'm entirely down for that. We know that Pennywise is a shapeshifter, that he can turn into just about anything. In the book, he transforms into things we don't get to see him transform into in the movie. And I think it would be fun, especially being that this is in the past, and this takes place in the past, to kind of see some of those things from the book that we didn't get to see in the movies because they were trying to modernize it, kind of get to see a few of those. I would personally like to see a few of those. And if you read the book, maybe you know some of the things I'm talking about. If you haven't read the book, it's a really long read, though, so you probably are not going to be able to finish that book by the time it starts up tomorrow, especially being that you'll have to run out and buy the book. But if you have never read the Stephen King book, I strongly urge you to check it out. It's disturbing, it's horrifying, and it's great. And it's one of the reasons that Stephen King is the master of horror. And that's kind of the thing here too. This show brings to life one of his most iconic characters. So it has to have that same type of vibe. We have to get to really fear Pennywise the Clown above all else. And I think that that's going to be the single most important thing that they do, is make us fear who Pennywise is. Because the second that we all start to look at Pennywise and think of him as this lovable, sarcastic clown, we've lost touch with who he is. And then also, yeah, the movie was terrifying. The movie, this latest movie that they did of Stephen King's It, was completely terrifying. It wasn't necessarily 1,000% true to the book, but it did serve its purpose. It brought the character to an entirely new audience. And with that, it actually made the series possible. So we have to look at what can make the series successful to the fans. And when I say that, I mean to the fans of the book, the fans of the movie, the fans of the previous movie even. The things that they can do here for this level of success and this level of respect from the fandom, it's all kind of the same thing. I feel that if they take these things that we mentioned and they look at them and sort of take them to heart, then they're going to have a good series. This is going to be fun to watch. And it's just one of those things where you can't expect every single beat to be something that you want. You just have to take a look at what they're giving us and determine if what they gave us is good enough. And that's kind of the thing. If you're entertained, they've done their job. So I do think that them actually doing these things would help with the series. I think that them doing these small little things is going to be vital to that series' success. However, if they do none of these, it doesn't mean that it's going to be a failure. It doesn't mean that the show is going to bomb just because they didn't do the things that fans actually want, or that I actually want. I think that there's a disconnect sometimes when people look at what a writer can do versus what is actually presented to them on screen, versus what people take and make from that project. So, you can take any franchise and its original creator And over the course of time, new creators come in, they switch things around and they change things up. And when they do, sometimes they change things in a big way and sometimes they change things in a small way. It doesn't really matter in the long run, as long as they are presenting us with a project that feels true to the original. And that's the most important thing here. No matter what, it's gotta feel true to the original, which in this case is not even the original book or the original adaptation movie. It is, in fact, this latest adaptation movie that it has to remain true to in terms of visuals and in terms of story. But that's where I'm going to leave it off to you guys. Are you excited? Not excited? What do you think the show needs to do to be successful? Whatever you think, there's no wrong answers. Just remember to be nice to each other in the comments. But I want to hear from each and every one of you. So make sure you leave me that comment in the comment box telling me everything you're thinking. And then make sure you share this video with all of your friends so that they can be a part of our conversation as well. If you like positive content on your feed, you're going to want to hit that like button to let them know that you want more positive content on your YouTube feed. It can't hurt, so go ahead and hit that like button. And if you like our channel personally, you're going to want to hit the subscribe button and that notification bell right next to it, so you never miss a single video we do. Because friends, at the end of the day, I know it and you know it, fandom is family.